Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. This morning I'm looking at a book in the excellent series of textbooks which Routledge produce. Part of the Taylor and Francis group. Routledge have been used for quite a long time now by many law students for revision purposes and various other ways of trying to understand the intricacies of some substantive law issues. Now, the book I'm looking at this morning is on medical law, which is an interesting new area, a developing area of law, and this is the book here. It's called Beginning Medical Law. It's by Claudia Carr. There's the spine and there's the back. You can see what's in it. The book is a paperback. It runs to 160 odd pages. There's a nice index at the back. Then you've got a very useful and very modern way of producing things. Nice summaries at the back and further reading and all sorts of things. We'll get onto that in a minute. Let me show you the book first. That explains what medical law is about. And it also then mentions all the other books in the series, of which there are quite a large number. They are extremely helpful, of course, for anybody involved in revision at this time of year. There's a nice dedication from the author, which I always like to show, and then you can see the contents section there running through quite large and controversial areas of law. There are 13 chapters. Then you've got some cases, which you've just seen. Then some legislation, of course, dealing with particular acts. Then it gives you the guide to the companion website. Now, there's a companion website linking into this book. Then you have the first chapter, and you see you have learning objectives, then you have an introduction, and then it runs through. And you've got very useful key case analysis all the way through, which I found helpful, and on-the-spot questions. More of that a bit later, but I think you've got the general idea. Again, there's another key case there. You've got a general idea of what the book is about. These are excellent books. The companion website links into the main web, and this is, again, another innovation which I have found very helpful both for teaching and certainly for preparing students for examinations. Now, as I say, this is called Beginning Medical Law. It's with a companion website written by Claudia Carr from Routledge. Now, it's also an ebook as well, which would be helpful for people who have a Kindle and iPads and so forth. Now, Elizabeth and I have written a review. We've given it the title, An Excellent First Step to Understand What Medical Law and Ethics Are All About, because it's covering both medical law and the issue of ethics, which, apart from being a straight legal issue, is also a jurisprudential issue as well, very much for those who are doing the LLB and have to do the jurisprudential paper. This is what we say anyway. As Claudia Carr explains in her excellent textbook on the subject of medical law and ethics is a relatively new area of law that is growing in complexity by the day. She's absolutely right. So she presents the basic primer, which is what this is, in an easily understandable set of terms, logically presented for the reader, and it deals with both contemporary and current controversial issues, ranging from abortion all the way through. So you have all the main issues directly linked to medical law. I think it will be of interest, of course, to doctors as well. As with all the Routledge textbooks, this particular title is probably the best on the market as an introduction to the way in which medical law operates in England and Wales for those new to this developing subject. Carr adopts a clear and simple approach throughout with her legal vocabulary, which is carefully clarified as you go through the book. One of the main reasons why we consider the Routledge series of legal textbooks to be of outstanding value, both in terms of cost and in content, is the way in which their authors, who are all legal experts, explain substantive legal issues in such a readable fashion. For both tutors and students, the decision on which textbook or revision book to use is always going to be difficult, but it's clear to us from the feedback we've received from students that the Routledge texts lead the field. Many of their titles also have excellent links to websites, sometimes marked as companion websites like this book, and they add much assistance to the hard-pressed learner, and it's a great additional tool for all. You've got MCTs as well on the companion website, and I do think it's of help to try to refresh your memory. We'll also say that the formats used by Routledge for their books are very much of a mainstream formula today for the legal text, because it eases the student into methods of legal reasoning for those just beginning their legal studies, and also for those undergraduates preparing for exams. They certainly helped us with our preparation, so do ensure that you look very carefully at the titles they have on offer, and I think they will be expanding in the years to come. Carr uses diagrams, tables and what she calls on-the-spot questions, which I showed you earlier, to make the subject come alive. For us, the companion website is of course the innovation. Therefore, do look at the features at the beginning of the book and how to use it, because it'll assist your learning and engagement with this subject matter. Let me conclude by saying that the key definitions and many key cases which are highlighted and emboldened, together with the learning objectives in each of the 13 chapters, are of particular help to those new to the subject. And the title remains an ideal first introduction to medical law for undergraduates and anyone interested in this growing area of substantive law for the 21st century. And the law's as stated at the 1st of August 2014, and I'm recording this in the spring of 2015. Here's the book again, in the back. Very much the standard structure which you get. These are the actual Beginning the Law series of books there, a whole range which are coming online at the moment. This is the actual guide, so if you go on the website, do have a look at how to use the companion website itself. There are answers to on-the-spot questions, there's a glossary, and that is actually the website detail there. Then you've got the actual chapters itself. That's the introduction to ethics and medical law. And then you've got, as I say, all these on-the-spot questions, which makes you think about what you're actually reading. And there are various points. For instance, they deal with the National Health Service Act 2006. Then you've got judicial review issues. So there's a lot of overlap with other areas of law, which is bound to be the case, of course, with medical law. Then you've got, for instance, you've got a chapter here on consent and the incompetent patient. Again, another very important area, looking specifically at the Mental Capacity Act and so forth. Then things like live organs, transplants, maximising organ donation. Then you have right at the back further reading again, which is extremely helpful. Altogether, there's a nice summary too. It's very much an easy to read book, and certainly the sort of thing which makes lives so much easier these days for studying law. Not the easiest of subjects, best of times, but a fascinating one anyway. Can I thank Claudia Carr and also all the people at Routledge for producing these titles. They really do make lives a lot easier. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.